Welcome back, guys. It's Down the Rabbit Hole. I'm your host, Popeye from FederalJack.com. I'm joined by two good friends now, my friend Will, and everybody knows Bob Tuscan. Bob, say hello, take a bow.
Why do you do that every time I come on, dude?
What? Make you take a bow?
No, you say, well, the bow thing, I know JJ doesn't like that.
Oh, by the way, you know your voice morph software is on still. Just in case you didn't know.
I didn't realize I had it on altogether. Well, thank you for telling me that. Jeez.
I hate when my headphone, just so people know, it's software that comes with a special expensive set of headphones, and sometimes I have a similar set, and sometimes the software turns itself on and off.
Well, I was calling you earlier during the break as a certain caller, and I didn't realize I had that machine on the whole time.
Oh, you didn't?
Had no idea. Anyways, enough inside baseball for tonight, Popeye, but geez, there's lots of stuff going on. What's going on with you?
Welcome to the show, Bob. Welcome to the show. We've just been covering news and everything. Did you guys hear about this Exxon oil leak underneath the Yellowstone River in Montana? Can it get any worse? I mean, for real. And now somebody blew up a private levee yesterday and sent tons of water, thousands and thousands and thousands of gallons of water down, and this was north of this flooded, nuke plant. So now you've got all this water coming downstream. They're already only a couple feet from catastrophe. Why would you blow a levee north of this plant? Why? And they're like, well, we're not really sure who did it. We know it's a privately owned levee, so we don't think it's illegal. If you or I did that, you know this was done by either the Army Corps of Engineers or somebody that owned the land. The Army Corps of Engineers went over and said to him, here, take this. We're going to blow that levee, okay? And then don't say nothing. Because if the government wasn't involved in one way, shape, or form, if it was just somebody civilly doing that, they would string the guy up and out to friggin' dry.
And they put you on the mainstream media, too.
That's what I'm saying. They would character assassinate you. So they blow a levee. Somebody blows a levee and sends tens of thousands of gallons of water headed towards a already flooded nuke plant. But, hey, don't worry about that.
Oh, it's normal.
Exxon has this pipeline that runs underneath the Yellowstone River. And it suddenly leaks into the Yellowstone River.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Bob, do you think this is – let me ask you this. Do you think any of this is being done on purpose? I mean, when you get too many coincidences, right, it's not coincidence anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I guess an even better question is any of this not being done on purpose, Geez, there's so much of this that, we can look at HAARP, we can look at scalar weapons, we can look at weather manipulation, chemtrails, the list goes on. We know that something's being done. How much of it's natural, how much of it's not, I'm not so sure about that. But the bottom line is, Popeye, we're killing this planet. Between the oil spills and the nuclear situation and this, that, and the other thing, it's clear that we are killing our planet. And we're all contributing to that in a certain way if we're not going to take a stand and be an activist and do something about it.
Yeah, and it's got nothing to do with man-made global warming. See, you get shysters like Al Gore that take. First of all, let's get something straight. Polar bears, if they drowned, it's because they got tired while they were swimming. Polar bears swim. Okay, they spend like half their life in the water. That's their thing. Okay, so when you see these polar bears swimming, their ice is melting and they're looking for a home. No. They're out hunting. They swim sometimes 100 or 200 miles out to sea and come back. Okay?
Yeah, but
I'm not kidding. Go look it up. So Al Gore takes something, manipulates it, and then says, oh, my God, do you see the massive earth changes? Look, oh, my God. Be afraid. Give us tax money, and we have to take over everything, and we'll make sure it doesn't happen. That's BS. See, I think, personally, it's a mixture of a bunch of things, and I think that they just won't – part of it is – they need not that I know from what they've even said, they want global governance, but they know that the earth is going through natural changes. There are things happening. Look, the sun is very much responsible for a lot of the things that are going on this planet right now. And not just the sun, but other things too. But the sun itself is one of the biggest factors in the earth heating up. But let's not pay attention to that. Let's not pay attention to science. Let's just pay attention to what some schmuck who claims he invented the internet says. Okay? He didn't invent the internet, just so people know. DARPA invented the internet. It was called the ARPANET. And then the guys over at CERN, the same geniuses that are trying to blow up the world with that Hadron Collider, they created the World Wide Web, and they merged it with the ARPANET, and that became the internet as we know it today. That's how it was born. So it was not born in Al Gore's basement.
What are you going to tell me? Santa Claus doesn't exist next? Jeez.
Did I just ruin it for you, Bob? Santa Claus? And
yeah, man. I like the idea that Al Gore, was the inventor of the internet. I like that.
I know it's a comfortable thing. I understand.
Well, and I also like global warming as well as a hot tub that stays warm, Jeez.
Well, Al Gore took a picture of a polar bear on a little piece of ice and said there's global warming.
He did a good job with that research.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And his hockey stick graph is completely fictional. I mean, that's the famous hockey stick graph. Look, that whole the day after tomorrow thing. Oh my God, a global superstorm with massively cold air. It's going to freeze everybody. Run!
That was Whitley Strieber and Art Bell.
Art
Did you
Bell?
know that?
He wrote that?
He wrote the book that movie was based on.
How many times have I said, we've had conversations about Coast to Coast, and I said, George Norrie I don't think is a bad guy. If anything, I think George is being led around, and he just doesn't realize it sometimes. But Art Bell had connections to the CIA. Art Bell,
there was something strange that happened with Art Bell's son as well. Nobody ever talks about this, and this was kind of...
Go ahead. Tell the listeners.
Well, he was involved with some child trafficking and some weird sort of sex trade over the border. And this was Art Bell's little secret. And I haven't heard many people come out and talk about this, so this may be a first. You can probably do a little bit of digging and find an article or two. He actually did an interview with Talkers magazine a while back. I used to follow all the Talkers magazine articles and whatnot. And now it's funny because Alex Jones is merging with Talkers, which is a paid-for sort of deal, but they do some covering of the talk radio world in general. But anyways, Art Bell's son was involved with some sort of trafficking, and I don't know what the deal was with that. I'm not saying that, there was any malicious involvement with Art Bell and that whole ordeal. And I don't like to talk about these people in general, but we do have to look at our media. And the point is not to talk about Art Bell per se, but to talk about media being co-opted by COINTELPRO.
Exactly, because what happened? Well, just so people understand, the media doesn't have to be. I mean, most of it's owned. 98% of it is owned by 6 companies. But and you can go look up Operation Mockingbird, and you'll see the CIA took. Back in the 50s, they sat down and they figured out how many radio stations and newspapers and TV stations they would have to buy up to control all the media in the United States. So go check it out during the break, guys. We'll be right back. Check out our new website, OrionTalkRadio.com. It's got all the program schedules. It's got drop-down menus you can click on. Brings you to a special page for each show and each host. It has the chat room. Check it out. OrionTalkRadio.com. We'll be right back.
Murdered and tortured, raped and pillaged. I was only 5 and I was the only surviving witness. My entire village burned to the ground. He wore a serpent in his crown. Happily committed murder with a frown. And an army of black hooded fiery skull generals and a sorcerer that can cast spells.